what's the best thing for the agents that I care about, that I empower and I motivate and I lead? What's the best thing for them so they can continue to move to their life by design? Because we have to have plans to be able to make it an option to do a transaction, not a necessity. I reached a point where the model I was in just couldn't support the long-term forward-thinking growth I wanted for myself and for agents that I cared about. Once I realized that, everything changed. If you ever question an alignment or where your business is heading, keep watching this. This is going to give you some clarity that you've been looking for. Let me tell you about my recent story. Hello. Steve here, Director of Agent Growth and Success with River City Elite North and a leader of the team, the Vargas team, also an associate broker and licensed in Virginia and Maryland. So I want to talk a little bit about my story, especially how it relates to my last brokerage and the impact it had on me. So I was at my last brokerage for actually two different stints. So it was about 4 years in total. And during my most recent time there, I actually served as a coach, a productivity coach. So while I was doing productivity coach, I was also still in production, still doing coaching on the side, and also being the team leader of the Vargas team. So here are the things that I feel the last brokerage did right. And I will say it just the last brokerage played a huge role in my development. And I'm not saying my development as a real estate agent, but I think a lot of my mindset, how I kind of see the world a little bit different, a lot more proactive, a lot more positive and things. But I also do want to explain why that, the reason I chose to move to River City Elite Properties Real Brokerage and why our team moved over. And to kind of explain why that move fits the way I coach agents and kind of the overall goal moving forward in that growth mindset. So there was a lot, that the last brokerage did right. The culture was great, in terms of overall national culture, the collaboration, the training, the mindset training, all of it helped me. The leadership training, it helped me on a national. I'm saying those national level trainings helped me grow in that right direction. Like I said, the national culture was really strong. It did change my life. I mean, my coach was a coach with the company, and I still talk to him to this day. And I mentioned him in some of the videos. He's actually changed me as the best version of myself overall, right? Um, and I still use a lot of those values today. But the thing is, you know, the challenge that I saw, and it kind of upset me in a way, it really disappointed me, was the culture didn't always spread evenly across every office. And it's not a criticism, it's just the reality of scaling. As a productivity coach, I did see, how agents grew. I saw what they struggled with. I saw what they succeeded with. And I think the biggest thing is because every office was owned separately, independently, it was a very big, drastic difference in terms of morale, in terms of culture, in terms of leadership, in terms of, alignment. And I mean, you can be down the street at a different office and it can be this a different feeling. And, with that, type of thing and getting into a leadership role, and trust me, the goal was to continue to go up in a leadership role and, have ownership shares and things like that. I realized that, one of the fundamental things which I think we all need, is agent count, agent retention, and production. I think though where it kind of veered left for me was the agent count kind of override a lot of other things. And I don't necessarily think it was a franchise owner, that was pushing it. I think it was a big push from above, right? Um, it does, the agent count does matter in every brokerage, but it should never override alignment, how you recruit or attract, or how you do things in terms of your values. I know there was top down pressure, like I said before, and I get it. It's a part of the model, right? There's different ways. It's a business. Businesses are not meant to race to zero. But that alignment was really, after a while, it bothered me. It bothered me to the sense of sometimes this agent's prescription is not us. Sometimes the agent is bigger than us as a brokerage. Sometimes they're bigger than me as a team leader, and that's fine. But it was always, how can we keep people in a certain box so we always are kind of the value for them, rather than how can we help them create other boxes. I don't know if that analogy makes sense. Um, so, I'm really big into, you want to be a real estate agent or you want to join our brokerage, join our team. Let me tell you the reasons why you shouldn't join. And what I want to hear are the reasons why you should join. That is what I think it is to an alignment in the culture, of a team or a brokerage. Um, I think, like I said, there's a lot of things that was instilled to me by leaders in that organization, but it was never followed through. The same things that I'm taught to do to my team, to others, I didn't see that happening on a higher level. And look, I don't think it was a necessarily a malice thing. I think there was a misalignment from top down saying this is the model, but this is your goal. And honestly, the model didn't fit the goal anymore. Aside from that traditional model, um, it was just becoming antiquated. And what I mean is, there's a lot of overhead. I've paid for offices. I'm sure other agents, other team leaders. It's a lot of overhead. And just the way things move forward in life and technology and the growth mindset, we either adapt or we kind of disappear. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges, is that there was no progression, right? There's no, let's adapt and let's audible so we can match and still show our great value and our great culture with this adaptability. Um, and honestly, it kind of brought me to real, right? So, real brokerage is very forward thinking. I mean, some of the tech stuff, it's unbelievable. But aside from that, is, well, what's their culture like, right? What's the alignment of values, and if an organization prior was able to combine both, it would be the best of both worlds. And if that's not an option, then you can still be loyal, but you may not have the same goal alignment. And so what we decided is, we need to go with a similar culture style, organization that is forward thinking, and kind of reinvest back to the agents. And what do I mean by that is, you know, we have to get past the point of just transactional business. And I'm not saying, we're real estate agents. I'm not saying that's what we need to get away from, but we need to have other sources aside from that. There's been a lot of changes as of late, and I can foresee a lot of changes in the near future, just because of how volatile lawsuits left and right for this and this and this. And although we still present a great value to, especially, our organization provides a great value, and there's great agents everywhere, to most clients, it's still not, it's not as dependent on, is we can't depend on transactions, in terms of transactions, compensations, and our pay. That's not enough anymore. And I think that's where we need to change, just like the growth, like I said, with real brokerage, how they're adapting to technology, and how consumers are interacting with their agents, and how the agents are interacting with their brokers. We also need to understand and adapt how we need to have sources of income for us as agents, still do our what we do great and what we do well, at the same time get more out of that. So when we were looking at, well, what's the best options, because we had choices, um you know when you're looking at like a cloud-based structure, and let's talk about real brokerage. So, at our old brokerage, the cap was higher. And what I mean by that is, the amount from the split that goes to the brokerage, there's a certain amount. Once you pay that, you're at 100%. Well, so I know because every place is different. Again, that's part of the misalignment. I think is every office is different, and that applies to every any franchise or any model. With real brokerage, it's just one cap. It's a $12,000 cap. If you're a team, and I believe it's over 5 million in volume, and you have at least two agents, it can go down to 6,000 a cap or a year for the cap. If you're on a mega agent team or a private label team like us, we have agents on a $4,000 cap. I mean, sometimes that's one deal, right? Depending on where you're at. So you have a lower cap, and you have a split of 85-15, so that 15% goes towards that cap of either, let's say, 12,000, 6 or 4,000. um, you're in and you have ownership interest, where I was trying to climb the ladder in a corporate way type of thing. You have that interest of ownership from the beginning. You're awarded stock options. I mean, we're publicly traded, and I'm not saying there's another brokerages that do the same thing, but one of the things that I didn't like, and I'm not just saying it with this office, this last office specifically, is that scarcity mindset. Like I want to help everyone in my organization, whether you're in Nebraska, Hawaii, Maryland, Virginia, wherever, but I don't want it to feel like, get away from me, this is my information, right? I'm thinking a rising tide raises all ships. It doesn't work like that if you're not a part of one system, one whole. So for us, if I have an agent in Nebraska and Hawaii, California, and they have questions or they want to, join, real brokerage or join our team over there or what have you, it really, their success is still my success. And it doesn't matter if they're in an office in my physical location, because if they're successful, they're going to close deals, they're going to be happy, then they're going to help their clients. Clients are going to refer more business, and it just becomes a snowball. Well, overall, then the profit margin increases and the brokerage and the stocks increase, and that is a great part. That is part of that other source, is having stock ability, right? Having stocks. So at Real, we're actually afforded and awarded stocks. We can buy them at a percentage and it's matched by Real brokerage. We can also, even, as we have certain awards, if we cap, if we attract an agent and they close their first deal. So it's kind of like everyone is involved, is invested together, not just one office. Even if another office is down the street, everyone is together. And those stocks are life changing. There's other people and other brokerages that are cloud based that I know that have moved from the beginning to the end, and their life has changed. So, so we have the lower cap, we have the splits of an 85-15, more agent friendly. We have stock awards, right? We have revenue share. There's a lot of agents that are attracted to our organization because of our culture, our values, because of our jokes, and where the model didn't work is when you attract an agent and they did great. Well, if there's no profit in that office or there is no program, you're not going to be incentive other than a great job type of thing. Where with us is revenue share based on, what the percentage doesn't come out of that agent, it comes out of the percentage that would go to the brokerage. So if they're successful, you help them invest in themselves, and they invest in themselves, and it's a team effort. We're all kind of growing together, and I'm not even saying if you're specifically on the team or not. You check in, you guide them, direct them, whatever it is that you help them with their success. You're able to get some revenue share. Again, doing what you would do naturally in another place, you probably wouldn't get anything, right? Or sometimes they don't have that program. So that's what I'm talking about, is doing the same. Even if you don't focus on like an agent attraction, you're naturally going to attract people. Hey, how's your going with your business, right? It doesn't, you don't have to, people attract agents without really wanting to attract agents. But now you can be compensated for that value you provided. You can be compensated for helping, achieve your life by design, by working a lot of transactions or helping another agent grow a lot of transactions. You can be compensated in the stock options as well. And I think that's one of the more powerful reasons why, I always say, and I'm not saying, something that other agents shouldn't think about. But if you're in a leadership position, it's not just about what's the best thing for you. It's what's the best thing for the agents that I care about, that I empower and I motivate and I lead. What's the best thing for them so they can continue to move to their life by design? Because, you know, as a leader, sometimes look, it doesn't matter. I'll be fine. But if the goal ultimately, and I always say this, is you're going to make it to a higher level with other people that surround you with like-minded, mindset, culture, and values than you would by yourself at all. I don't care. So that's why it's important if your agents are telling you something in the sense of this is not working, you need to listen to them, right? Because they value what you think. And you have to see, well, what's the best opportunity to scale this up for so they can attract like-minded people. So then we all continue to grow. So I know what some people are going to ask, well, how does River City Elite come into this, right? So there was an opportunity given to me by the powers at River City Elite properties based out of Richmond, that they wanted to grow something bigger, utilizing the vehicle of real brokerage to grow something bigger in the Northern Virginia area and to continue to move to bigger things. And so that aligns with me great. First of all, River City Elite Properties, their culture and values, I feel like if you match the same, you feel like you've known someone for a very long time. It's that feeling. Like it feels like we've all been connected. We just never really knew it, right? So the opportunity to grow River City Elite Properties gave me that leadership lane. It gave me the ability to create, to help create, because it's not just me, to create the community, the collaboration, um, something bigger than, which my team is great. We love, we're all close, but we can create something bigger that we can still have that technology, that awesome benefits for real brokerage, and now we can add, some ingredients of specific coaching. We had a pre-listing packet sent out by our principal broker, and our agents sent out from Richmond headquarters to our agents up here. An agent used it, and the list the seller said, one of the reasons I hired you was because of the listing package. So to be able to help with marketing, helping, in that luxury brand, the ability for me to grow something bigger than just myself and impact more people. If I can help impact agents to be the best version of themselves and they're overall happy, they're gonna impact a lot of their clients, right? So the alignment is great, and we're excited to continue to grow River City Elite Properties, not just Northern Virginia, but to Maryland, Charlottesville. There's a lot of areas we want to continue to grow that like-minded culture, the values, everything that comes along with it, because it's sometimes the challenge with a cloud-based brokerage is you may not have that centralized kind of community. Not saying all the time, but some people need more, right, than that, than just once a month meetup. So one of the beautiful things with River City Elite is given the opportunity for me and for others, growth minded people to, hey, let's all grow together. Let's step up. Let's use our knowledge, our value, our skills. Let's collaborate and see how, other leaders will step up internally, leaders from outside, and let's continue to grow things. And in addition to that, it kind of gives the opportunity to have kind of, what is the best fit for you as an agent? Do you need that kind of high accountability, high structure, maybe some lead opportunities, some lead generation opportunities given to you? You need the structure, you need the constant kind of, let's kind of continue step by step. Well, you have teams for that. You have the Vargas team, you have other teams inside of Real, you have teams inside of River City Elite Properties. If you're an agent that's kind of like, I know what I'm doing. I'll check in once in a while. I kind of just kind of, I'm kind of my own culture. I do my own thing. I have my own type of River City Elite, type of feel that real itself, right? You can create that own thing with just real. If you're in that, that mindset of, I want to kind of grow my own team. I love the atmosphere of being able to use the opportunities given to me from River City Elite Real, anything like that that's going to help me. We call those interdependent agents that's going to help me kind of grow to running a business. And those agents can still be on a team. You can have interdependent agents on a team that will grow to those leadership positions, or those agents will grow their own team, but they really love the idea of let's do this together. That's a perfect fit, especially for River City Elite Properties, is where we kind of help a lot of those type of agents grow to the next level. But the beautiful thing is there's options, right? Whether you want to be on a team, you love the camaraderie feeling, you need to have the stable transition in terms of stableness of being held accountable on a high level, the support of operations things. There's teams that we can have. If you're an independent agent that you just like to check in, get some coaching every once in a while. It could be a fit for real or sometimes River City. Or if you're that, let me help me create a business together. Let me use the vehicle of River City Elite and Real to help me grow something bigger. Then we have that opportunity here as well. So today, agents who partner with us, I mean, you get, the mentorship, depending on the level of you're at. Like I said, if you want to just join Real, if you think you're a good fit for being an agent on our team, if you feel River City, that luxury brand, whatever it is, you're gonna get systems, models, you're gonna get accountability help, you're gonna get technology. You have a lot of different options and resources that can help invest into you as long as you're investing in yourself, right? So like I said, with us at River City Elite and the Vargas team, and Real, overall, we're paying less in caps. We have friendlier splits. We have revenue share. We have stock awards. There's a retirement path. That's the biggest thing too that I didn't mention as much is there. I know a lot of agents have said this is a lot of agents don't retire. They kind of expire. And I'm not saying, I'm just saying in terms of the business is we have to have plans to be able to make it an option to do a transaction, not a necessity. So those different multiple income streams are going to help us get to that next level. So we as agents, we deserve to work smarter, not harder. We deserve to have generational wealth, ownership interests, and a long-term opportunity, especially for retirement. So if you're an agent, you're thinking about what is the best thing for me. You're exploring your options, or maybe you just want to talk about, am I in the right fit? Sometimes you are. Sometimes you're in the right fit. So if you need a clarity on alignment, I'm always here to talk. I'll put my Calendly link here in the bottom. Just remember, it's just a conversation. Let's see if the goals align, or let's see how we can help you, even if you're choosing to stay where you're at. All right, appreciate it. Let's get it.